So for this morning's forum topic, it is also our woven basket recipient this month. So I'd like to remind everyone to give and give generously to the amazing Damiano Center, who is honoring dignity for their 41st year anniversary. The Damiano Center provides multifaceted emergency services. It is the largest emergency meal provider in Northeastern Minnesota and has the only free store in Duluth. They also offer children's programming, a clothing program for people seeking employment, a shower facility, addiction support groups, and a storage program. And they provide referrals and other basic assistance as well. We are joined here today by the amazing Seth Currier, sitting next to me, the executive director, who will share an update with us for our forum today. So again, feel free to start thinking of any questions you have for Seth. We'll have plenty of time for Q&A. And thank you all so much for being here this morning. Seth, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks for allowing me to be here. It's always fun to, I think it's been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years that I've been coming up and chatting with you all in person before COVID and then a couple times on Zoom during COVID. But yes, I'm going to talk about Damiano. I'm going to talk about the things that we do, the reasons why we do the things we do. We'll do Q&A, but if you have any questions even before that, feel free to interrupt me. I don't mind. I like being interrupted. It's just fine. So if you like, I'm not going to remember this question in 20 minutes, just interrupt me. No problem at all. Okay. So how many people have been to the Damiano? Most? Okay, great. So the Damiano, we've been there 41 and a half years. March 15th will be, in 2024, will be 42 years. The Damiano started, maybe many of you know this, but the Damiano started out of a community need. So there was a group of people living in a house just across the alley from the Damiano Center. And the Damiano Center had been sitting vacant for a while. It was an old Catholic elementary school and it wasn't being used anymore. That was kind of the whole Catholic complex there. It was Sacred Heart, across was the cathedral, and then Alicia's place was where the nuns had lived. And so all that was kind of, at least the elementary school was kind of sitting vacant. I think they had torn down the high school at that point. The high school is now where our parking lot's at. I think there was an apartment building there. Anyway, there was a group of people, they started serving a meal out of their apartment. I think they were living in community there. And it was just to meet the need because we were in a recession at the time. And so, and it got too big. It got too big too quick. And so they just asked the Catholic Church, can we use the old cafeteria from the elementary school? And that's how it started. On March 15th, 1982, we served hamburger soup, and it was by a group of volunteers, and we have not missed a meal since. Of the meals that we normally serve. We don't serve every meal, but, and then in COVID, we flipped in one day. On March 15th of 2020, we served our last meal in the cafeteria, and on March 16th, we were out in the parking lot serving meals to go. We did it real quick, and it was really beautiful, and then we increased the number of meals that we served. So throughout COVID, we served every single meal except for 2 every week. So math on that is, I'm not sure, 19. We served 19 meals a week during COVID. And so from there, we have kept some of those meals, but then as other organizations started serving meals again, then we kind of backed off because we really don't want to duplicate services. It doesn't make sense when we're asking for financial donations from everyone to duplicate services. We do have a little bit of overlap, but that actually works out really well. So I'll talk about our community kitchen first. The community kitchen is what we're kind of most known for because that was our first program. And we serve every breakfast in the community kitchen, and then we serve 5 lunches a week. So we serve every lunch except for Tuesday and Thursday lunches, and then we serve 3 dinners, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're the only place serving on the weekends, and so we serve all 3 meals those days. And then the Union Gospel Mission, they've kind of switched up the ways that they serve, so actually we don't overlap with the Union Gospel Mission very much at all. And we work really closely together. So between the 2 of us, every single meal is covered in Duluth. They serve all the lunches during the week, Monday through Friday. So we do have an overlap of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday lunches. That's the only overlap that we have with the Union Gospel Mission and with Salvation Army. They both serve those 5 meals. And that works out okay because we have sometimes they have people that maybe they've had trouble with, and so they've said, hey, you got to step out for a little while, or we have people that we've had trouble with, we got to say, hey, you got to step out for a little while, so at least people can still eat during those meals. And we find that even though we're the only place serving on the weekends, our biggest meals are the Monday through Friday lunches. We don't know why, but there's more people eating at those meals than at any other time. So I think it's just because people are going out for a lot of other services and things like that, so they choose to come and get meals on those days. So it works out great because that's our biggest need. And then Union Gospel Mission also serves Monday through Thursday dinner. So they serve Monday through Friday lunches, Monday through Thursday dinner. So those are the 4 evening meals that we're not serving. And so together we cover every single meal. The reason that we don't serve those 4 meals is because that's when our kids program is running. And our kids program is a drop-in center Monday through Thursday from 2:30 till 5:30. And it is a place where people can come in, kids can come in, get a free snack at 2:30 and until about 4, and then we serve a full meal for kids and their families at 4:30. And they can have as much as they want, and it's a really good healthy meal. And the reason we don't have any other program going during that time is because the Damiano, we are all about dignity, and we're all about allowing people to be there with as few barriers as possible. And so we have people that are coming in the building drunk and high. We have people that are sex offenders. We have people that are in all kinds of states of mental health or crisis or whatever. And we want everybody to be there. We want everybody to be eating. But we try to keep, when the kids are there, we want to keep it a little separate, keep it a little safer. And so that's why we don't do any other programming during the Monday through Thursday dinner time, because that's when the kids are there and they get their own space. And so it works out really nicely. So kids and their families, the only 2 meals that they can't eat at the Damiano Center are Tuesdays and Thursday lunches. Every other meal is available for kids and their families. So there's a lot of meals going out of that place. And the kitchen, the only 2 times the kitchen is not being used is is like from 9:30 to 2:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Every other day it's being used most of the day. So a lot going on out of that kitchen. So those are our 2 food programs. The other program that's connected to our kids' kitchen is in the summer. We have a program called Summer Food Corps, and those are youth, 14 or 15 till about 17. And it's a youth employment program. And so they learn how to grow their own food. We have a community garden plot where they're learning how to grow organic vegetables, how to process those foods, and what to make with those foods. And so then they bring those back and they make the kids' meals in the afternoon, or they provide those to the cook, and the cook makes food out of those vegetables that they grew. And then the little kids think it's really cool because the older kids grew those foods, so then the kids are eating vegetables, and it's really great. But then they are also helping out with the kids in the afternoon. So it works out really nice. It's a lot of their first employment. They get ServSafe certified. They get CPR certified. They learn how to use an industrial dishwasher. They learn how to work with kids. And so then they can go on and get other jobs from that. And we've had kids teenagers go to college and then start a teaching degree or something like that because they liked what they were doing with kids, or we've had them go on and work in restaurants and things like that. So it works out really nice. And then a lot of times it's kids from the neighborhood. So a couple of the kids this year, I remember when they were 6 years ago when they were in the program, or a few years ago when they were in the program, and then they are kids in there, and then they turn into teenagers, and then they come back and they work. So it's pretty cool to see that continuation happen. So the Damiano has 9 total programs that we offer. So I've just mentioned 3 of them, and I'll go through the rest of them. But we have 9 programs that we're offering out of that building that are Damiano run. And then there's 7 other nonprofits that are also in that space. So I'm a landlord and I am an executive director. And so we have 16 total programs that are offering services out of the Damiano Center. So it really is a community center where people can come and get all sorts of different services. And so I'll walk you through all those and tell you everything that we offer. But I do want to say, I mentioned dignity a couple times. We really care deeply about dignity. we want to have as few barriers as possible. So there's some programs that we have where we do have to ask people's identity, we have to ask people their birth date and their name, things like that. But we try to keep that pretty minimal. Those are more if we are providing things that are related to employment, or if we're providing things that are related to driving or things like that. Those areas where we do need to track some of that. But other than that, like when they come in for meals, we don't ask any questions. People can come through and just eat as much as they want. They go back up for seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, as much as they want to eat. And there's not a single question we ask them. A few of our other programs, there are a little bit more barriers, and I'll get into those. But we really try to provide as much as we can without asking any questions. And like I said before, we want people to come in when they're drunk and high. We want people to be there when they are in whatever state they might be in, because we want to get food in their bellies. I mean, that is so important. It's one of our most basic needs. So we really try to have people be able to get as much as they want. Sometimes we do have to ask people to leave. Sometimes it'll be for the day if there's just if they're just causing too many problems. We have to say, hey, step out for the day. Other times, if it's pretty serious, it might be for longer. But we make that call as a group and try to have as much dignity as possible with that. Okay, so other things. We have 2 clothing programs. We have our free store, and that is a program where it's open 4 days a week. And people can come and get 2 free bags of clothes a day. So grocery bag size clothes, they can pack it full as much as they want. Every single day they can come in and get those that were open. And the only questions we ask them that, we don't ask anybody's name or anything like that. We just ask them, is this your first time shopping? And how many people are you shopping for? That's all we ask. No name, nothing like that. And that program sees so many people, like 2,500 people, 2,500 visits every month. And everybody is taking like 2 bags of clothes. So that is a lot of clothes moving through there. I mean, it's something like 15,000 items a month or something like that are moving through there.
Where do you get your clothes from?
Donations. Okay, that's the thing that I don't get. I've been there 6 years, and I don't understand how this program. I don't understand how the Damiano works, and I've been there 6 years. I mean, I do, but I mean, it's amazing to me that it happens on donations from this community. The fact that everything we give away came from people in the community, and it keeps happening. It just keeps happening. There are very few things that we buy to give out to people. Now, that's more in our like basic needs kind of program. But as far as clothing goes, we rarely are buying anything. It's all donations from the community. And it is crazy that that happens. And it's beautiful. So thank you so much, because that is going directly to the guests and to have people clothed and warm and all of those things. So it is amazing. It's so crazy. We'll be really short on, and we'll put it out on Facebook and things like that, things that we're looking for. We'll put it on our website. People will call and ask, but we'll be needing, we always need men's clothes all the time, because we get about 1 piece of men's clothes for every 100 women's clothes. But we always, like, if we're getting really low on like men's underwear or something like that, then a whole bunch of men's underwear will come in, or if we're getting low on jeans, and all of a sudden a bunch of jeans will come. I mean, it's really amazing how that works. So I love it. It's pretty beautiful to watch. And everything is sorted by volunteers. So people are bringing things in. Then we have volunteers. We have a couple staff, and then we have like senior aid employees, people working for the city. We have reemployability employees, so people who have work restrictions, they can come and work at the Damiano. And all that is sorted by volunteers and put back out for people. So all day long, we're just refilling our free store so that people can just take what they need. And so it is a beautiful program. Our other program that's clothing related is our Clothes That Work program. And that is for people who have an interview coming up or they're currently employed. So if they have an interview coming up, they can come in and get 2 sets of clothes. And that's more dress clothes, so you feel confident in your interview. It could be anything that they want to pick out of that. And that's not just like the outerwear. That's underwear, socks, jewelry, accessories, things like that, shoes. a jacket, all that kind of stuff. So you can walk in, feel real confident for that interview. Then when they get the job, or if they're currently employed, they can come back and get 5 sets of clothes every 6 months. So this is in addition to all the free store stuff. And the free store, it's not like Clothes at Work has all the nice stuff and the other one, and free store has like the not nice stuff. That's not true at all. It's just, they're able to get from either one. But anyway, in the Clothes at Work, it's a little more specialized. So we do have dress clothes, and those are great. And we have people that take those because we have a lot of people that do need the dress clothes. But most of our clients, most of our guests are not necessarily working in jobs where they necessarily need the dress clothes. I mean, and after COVID, everybody's a lot more casual. I mean, this is what I wear to work, and it's pretty casual. I mean, I wear jeans and a dress shirt, and so the whole world is a little bit more casual now. But it's more specialized. So we have black clothes for working in food service with non-slip shoes. We have construction clothes, steel-toe boots, Carhartts, flannels, all those kind of things. Because steel-toe boots, if you're working in the trades, you have to have steel-toe boots to walk on the job site. Steel-toe boots cost like $250. So it's kind of a catch-22 in that you need the money to buy the boots to work the job, to buy the boot. I mean, it's like, so we try to have that taken care of ahead of time. We have a lot of nursing scrubs because we have a lot of PCAs, nurses, vet techs, things like that, where people are coming to get their clothes. And then we just have a lot of people working jobs where they just need to have like something a little nice. They might be working in restaurants, they might be working, whatever it might be. They can come and get those clothes from our program. And it's all sized. And in the free store, people can't try stuff on and then put it back on the shelf. They're just either taking it and it has to resize it, so they have to take it and then they can see if it fits. But in the Clothes at Work, they can try things on, make sure it fits, those kind of things. So it's a little more specialized, and people can make appointments for that. They get 30 minutes in there. It's a little more of a specialized shopping kind of experience. So that's that program. Then we have a basic needs program, and that's kind of our catch-all program. That's called community services. We have a phone in there. We have just tons of stuff that people can just take. They can take fentanyl testing strips so that if they're actively using, they can make sure that they're not going to overdose from fentanyl. We have condoms that are in there just out for people. We have that are all just sitting on the table. We have like lots of just all kinds of stuff that people can take. And then we have daily hygiene kits out to people so people can just brush their teeth, shower, all the things that they need with those. People who need a mailbox, they can get their mail there, and so it's really secure. And they don't need to say that it's the Damiano Center. It's just their name and then the address, so it looks like they live there, even if they don't have a place that they're living. So then employers will hire them and think that they have a place to live. We have daily bus tokens that we give out that we just buy on our own. We just buy them and give them to people. And then we have pay down gas vouchers and pay down bus cards for people who are currently employed to help them make it to the next paycheck. And that sounds a little bit odd, but we do that so that people don't lose their employment because of lack of transportation. And so to help them make it to the next paycheck, So we give those out. We give 5 of those each month that we just buy on our own. And then when people move into a new apartment, they can get set up with pots, pans, plates, cups, bowls, microwaves, coffee pots, hygiene for families, blankets, towels, toilet paper, all the things you need to get set up in your new apartment. That's all through that program. And so then, because a lot of people, they get their apartment for the first time ever, they go in and it's an empty room. That's pretty discouraging. And so to be able to get set up with a lot of that stuff, especially if you don't have the funds to get it, that's a really good program for people. So usually people will come in, they'll tell us what they need, and they walk out. They get to walk out with a massive cart load of stuff that they get. And it's really beautiful. And they'll use it not if they just move into a new apartment. I had one time I was down there, I was working, and a woman was in, her 4 kids. She was sitting, her apartment was above an apartment that caught on fire. So there was a lot of smoke damage of all of her stuff. She was devastated. And so we were able to give her all that stuff again. So it didn't smell like smoke. Like all was nice. So it was really beautiful. those kind of things happen all the time. Additionally, we have a hygiene unit that is 6 showers. It's out in the parking lot. It runs April through October, and that's only because in the wintertime it's too cold to shower out there. We got a 4-season one hoping that we could run it year-round, but that was 4-season for North Carolina, not for Duluth. I ran it through December the first year, and then we had to keep it running all night long so that it wouldn't freeze. And then, unfortunately, in the middle of the night, somebody came and stole the plug-ins, the cables, and so the whole thing froze because there was copper in those. And so they unplugged it, and the whole thing froze. And so it's a lot of money to fix that. All the sinks blew out and all that kind of stuff. So we don't run it that long anymore, which is okay because we work in conjunction with the warming shelter. So when the warming shelter is open, the hygiene units close. And then when the warming shelter closes, the hygiene opens that day. And then it runs until the hygiene unit closes, and then the warming shelter opens again. So there's a time where people can get showers all year round there through that. So it works out really nice. We all working together. So our last day for the hygiene this year is Halloween, October 31st. Warming shelter opens November 1st. So we're all working together on that kind of stuff. And so
Where's the warming shelter?
The warming shelter is in Lincoln Park. It is it's like right behind that Midtown Towers in Lincoln Park. It's where's that? I forget the address. It's right by the Seafarers place, and so that's operated by Chum, but it's a whole group of people working together on that. A whole bunch of agencies. So that's that program, and then we have some addiction support groups. They're called Health Realization, and they're not faith-based. They're not 12-step. It's a different model, so it's one other tool in the toolbox for people. It's open to everybody on Wednesday nights, and then there's a women's group on Sunday nights. And it's run by 2 women who came up to the program. They work for the Damiano. They run this program. I was just there on Wednesday night. It's this massive group of people, about 40 people were just hanging out. There's a whole, kids are there, whole family. I mean, it's beautiful. It's across generations, and it's all celebration of recovery. And it's really beautiful. There's kids at them every single time. And we have toys and all that kind of stuff for people to have their kids there, so that's not a barrier for people to get the support that they need. Speaking of that, so Damiano, when I said that that's not a faith-based program, actually the Damiano Center is not a faith-based program. It was started that way, actually. It's pretty unique for organizations of that, like to have soup kitchens that are not faith-based. It was started by people, I think most of the people who started the Damiano were Catholic, but they chose early on to make it not faith-based, which I think is really beautiful, and it makes it really inclusive. It allows us to go for dollars that other places can't go to if they are faith-based, but it also just makes it safe for people who have been hurt by the faith community, and they might know that they can step in there and know that they're not going to have any expectations of them. So pretty beautiful, and I love that about the Damiano Center. But that said, we are supported by so many people within the faith community. So many of our volunteers, so many of our supporters are all within the faith community. So we're inclusive of everybody, not just the faith community, but people outside the faith community. Okay, other programs that we have. We just started our safe storage program. So we're part of Stepping On Up. It's this whole initiative with 3 phases to be able to meet people where they're at within their journey of needing support and housing. And one of the programs with that is this safe storage program. And it is awesome. It is on our 3rd floor. We have a 3rd floor that's kind of not heated or anything like that. That's our next phase to move into. It just cost me $5 million. No big deal. Once I get that, then we'll be fine. We'll remodel that 3rd floor. But in the meantime, we use it for a whole bunch of other things. It's where we do a lot of our sorting. It's where we store winter clothes all summer long, so we have it ready for the winter. It gets used for a lot of different things. But one of those things is the safe storage. We just started it in May, and it's a place where people can store their most valuable items in tote bins. And it's all on camera. There's camera up there. There's never a place where their stuff is not on camera, and so there's never a place for staff or with their items without being seen in some way. And people can put whatever they want in that tote bin as long as it's not weapons or drugs or liquids, really. And a lot of people use it for their most important documents. People are living in tents. It gets rained on a lot. And so they can put all their legal papers in there. They can put their social security card in there. They can put their ID in there if they want. And they can just store the things that they need in there so that nobody will steal it. Nobody will burn it. They won't get soaked. I have that all the time. People will come to me and say, I left my bag with my friend. I thought I would be safe. They sold it. They burned it. They gave it away. They went through it and just left the bag, I hear stories like that all the time. And so that is another way to bring that anxiety down. There's so many things to be anxious about. I don't know if anybody's ever slept out overnight somewhere with having all your belongings with you. I've done that. It was by choice. I was traveling and things like that. But it's really, you don't sleep well. That's why you see people sleeping a lot during the day around, is because at night is not a safe time to sleep. At least during the day, you'll be seen by other people, and hopefully there'll be people that will, if somebody's trying to mess with you, somebody else will say something. So that's why people sleep during the day and not at night. It's safer. And so that's another thing for this safe storage is if you have to sleep at night, then you can sleep a little, rest a little easier if you know that your stuff is at least stored somewhere safe. And so we see people using it in two different ways. Some people will store their stuff at night so they can sleep, and then other people will store their stuff during the day so that they can walk around and not look like they're homeless, and can go to their appointments and all the different things, go to job interviews, all those sorts of things, and not have to carry all their things with them, because it's really hard to trust someone to watch your stuff, especially when you don't have a safe place to secure it. We take that for granted a lot when we can lock a door. That is not the reality for most people, or a lot of people. And so to be able to have your stuff locked up and know that just brings one of the many, many, many stressors down. There's so many stressors while living housing instability. Even if you're staying with somebody on somebody's couch, that is not your door that you locked your stuff behind. So so the door is locked up there. So it's on a third floor where nobody else can get access to, and then there's even a locked door up there. But then all their stuff are in bins on shelves, and so the units themselves aren't locked, but the room is locked, and then the access to that is also locked. So there's two locks before people get to that stuff. And then what we do is we store everything on an iPad. So our staff member will walk around with an iPad, and then we have a place where they'll meet them. It's in the Harmony Center, the HTC's Harmony Center. And then their bin has their number on it, so they know their number. But then we take their photograph on the iPad, so they don't need an ID, because we have their photograph. So they can give us whatever name they want. We don't care. We have their photograph. And so it's a way to take out that barrier to proof of identity, but not needed for an ID. And so it works out really nicely. And that has been running now. It'll run year round, but it's just been running since May. It's our newest program, and it's so beautiful. It's working out really, really great. Yeah. Okay, let me think if I've missed any of our programs. I don't think so. I think that's all of them. So that's the Damiano programs. Those are our 9 programs. We also have space where we have a conference room that's hybrid that people can use. Tons of different agencies and community groups meet there. We do all kinds of groups that are affecting our guests and our clients meet in the Damiano to get their services out to people. Also, a lot of agencies come in and table out of there. Like Legal Aid is in there once a month, and they'll provide legal services out of that room for people. We do another thing twice a year called Community Connect, where we give away coats, and we do haircuts, and we do warrant resolution, and we do STI testing and vaccines and foot care and coats, giving away coats. We're doing that coming up here in October. So if anybody has any winter coats, we're needing those right now because we're getting all ramped up for the winter time, and we start giving those out in October. We don't give them out before that because a lot of people don't, again, that idea of carrying things around, the idea of you can't carry your coat all month long when it's this warm out. You don't want to be carrying a winter coat. So we give out fall coats right now, and then we start giving out winter coats in October, and we'll give them out all winter long. So, but yes, we're collecting those right now. We'll start giving those out at community event. And then we also have a tabling opportunity. So at all of our meals, we have lots of agencies that come in and table during the meals, and they will give away all their services to people. So ACO comes in, Legal Aid comes in, Duluth Aging Support, just tons of agencies coming in and giving all their services out at Damiano. So we don't have to say, hey, go down the street, go up this elevator, go up these stairs. They're right there where the guests are coming. They can be there and they can say, at least then somebody might know, oh, I met this person from there. I'm going to go look for that person because I know I can trust them because I talked to them the other day. So we try to get as many agencies in there as possible to get their services out to people. So that's the Damiano stuff. And then in that spirit of collaboration, we have a bunch of agencies that are in our building. So we have Recovery Alliance Duluth. They have an office, their main office in our building. They provide peer support specialists training, peer support specialists giving out services and all kinds of stuff to people who are in recovery. We have Boys Sport Band of Ojibwe. Their urban office is there, so every band member, Boys Sport, the reservation's up by International Falls. Any band members who live in this area can go there and get all the services they get up at the reservation. Mentor North is in the building, so that's adults mentoring teens and kids. They are providing all the services out of our building. The community garden program is in the building, and they are allowing people to get garden plots, all that right out of our building. And then Harm Reduction Sisters is in the building, and so they are doing all kinds of stuff. They do peer support specialists as well, supporting people wherever they're at, but they are helping people who are actively using. And I know that sounds a little controversial, but it's actually really, really beautiful. So what they do is they do needle exchange. And the purpose behind that is harm reduction, because right now, St. Louis County is in an HIV epidemic and a syphilis epidemic. I don't think we're in Hep C anymore, but we're unique in the state in that in St. Louis County, it's because of needles, not because of sexual activity, as opposed to everywhere else in the state is because of sexual activity. And so, by providing clean needles, people are using, and so by providing clean needles, they are helping people at least not try not to get HIV from using dirty needles. And then people know that they can trust, like if they come there and there's no judgment when they're being met wherever they're at, then they know that, hey, I can talk to this person. And then they can be in that process. And then we have people who move from that and then get clean, so it's like along the process, meeting people where they're at without judgment. It's called harm reduction. And it's proven, there's so many studies on it, and it really helps people in their journey of recovery. And then they're also doing STI testing, the HIV, Hep C, all those, they're testing there and giving those, and then they're also giving out Narcan. So helping people who are in, like, to carry Narcan on them so that if somebody overdoses, they can save that life. And thousands and thousands of people's lives have been saved because of all the Narcan that we have in this community given out to people. And people think, I've been in that world for 10 years now. I was in treatment before this. I was on the group that back in 10 years ago, people were afraid that when we were bringing Narcan, that it would just enable people to use. And that's not the case. Nobody wants to overdose. It is horrible. You go into immediate withdrawal. People do not want to overdose. They're not using Narcan. They're not using and then just having Narcan with them so they can come back to life. It's horrible. They don't want to do that, but it is a reality sometimes. And so it's beautiful, and we can have that there. And then we have two other programs. HTC, Human Development Center, they have their Harmony Center down in our program, and it's like kind of hangout space, couches, there's peer support specialists in there, people where they're at. And then the crisis unit is based out of there, so if you call 988 instead of 911, if you see somebody having a mental health crisis, you can call 988, and then that brings in social workers as opposed to the police. And so remember that number. If you have a 218 number, call 988. And they're based out of the Damiano, and then their homeless programs also have some offices in the Damiano. And so it's a great partner to have in there. And then finally, our newest program is Safe Bay. Safe Bay is run by Chum, but it's in the Damiano parking lot. and it runs same time as the hygiene unit from April through October. And it is a place for people who are living, are homeless but living in their cars. They have a car. They can park in the Damiano parking lot. They get access to showers. They get access to toilets all night long. They get access to coffee. There's people awake all night long in the Damiano lobby entryway, and then they get services. They're on cameras. So they know they're safe. It's lit, and so we have so many people that say, "I'm trying to sleep up at Walmart, but I get so scared, or I don't know who's going to come mess with me," or they might be sleeping in a cul-de-sac and people are calling on them because there's a suspicious car out there, and people just get messed with all night long, even though they're just trying to sleep. And so this is a space where, when in the warm months, they can park there and get all those services every single night, 7 nights a week. So that's been a really beautiful collaboration and really beautiful program. So yeah.
For that one, Seth, do volunteers then like patrol the whole night? Because I've seen it announced that it just started. Like, how is that staffed?
Yeah, great. So the question is, how is that staffed? Just for people on here. So it is. There's chum staff that work all night long, but then we get volunteers to help when people are getting there to help check people in, and then in the morning when people are waking up. So there's volunteers at night and in the morning, but then there's staff all night long. So we're not. I mean, I think there's probably some volunteers that stay all night long too, but for the most part, those are the hours, just so that there's extra support. Because there's 20 households a night there usually, and there's kids in there. There's pets, and there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, you see, and so it's not just 20 people; it's like 20 households that are usually there, and it rotates. And there's people that are there for a while, and then we've had a lot of people this summer that moved on into housing already. And it's kind of that next step. And the beautiful thing about that program is that it is people that we didn't have access to, we didn't have any contact with through outreach. They weren't on our radar in all the normal, like, homeless programs. Our outreach workers didn't know these people. They were just living out and around in the community, but they weren't on our radar. So it's been that way to get access to people that we didn't have before and get them set up with services and then move them into housing, move them into all the different things that they've needed. So it's been really beautiful. Okay, I think that's everything that's going on at the Damiano right now. Questions?
And we can pass the mic around so people can hear each other too. I see Will's hand first. You're up first, Will.
Lots of questions have gone through my mind here while you're talking. And my wife, in fact, I had asked my wife on the way over here, what does the Damiano Center do again? Gee, I didn't realize it was so extensive. You did a great job, by the way, of telling us laying the groundwork here. Like everybody else, I think I'm not too much in contact with people. What an effective matter is, I don't know what the word is. Is it street people?
We would say people who are experiencing housing instability. So their housing is unstable right now. Yeah.
And you mentioned the word safety, and I thought, how safe are the streets in these areas where there are a lot of people like this? And then also you mentioned that anybody can just come drop in. Well, how do you ensure the safety of the other people that are there? And is safety a big problem, or is it something that you can just deal with?
Those are great questions, and there's a lot of different answers on that. So safety is an issue because sometimes if people are using, they're not in control of their body necessarily, they're not in control of their mind sometimes, or somebody's in a mental health crisis. And so they might be a very calm person normally. I see it all the time. All the people that be in the Damiano, I know them well. I've known them for years and years. And they're usually very cooperative, talking. We know each other. We talk about many things. And then one day they could just be screaming at me. And that's for a lot of factors. I mean, it's not just one thing. They could be high. They might not be high. They might, again, like I said before, there's so many stressors on people that if you don't have the skills developed to be able to cope with those stressors, sometimes the only way that comes out is just in the immediate yelling or whatever. But or if you're not on your meds, if you stop taking your meds, that can react in you being maybe acting in a way that you wouldn't normally act. And so there's lots of reasons for that. Now, safety on the streets, that's a perception. Because, okay, there's a reality and there's a perception of reality, but you have one bad experience, that's gonna be your whole experience. And so there are times where it is not safe. And I'm not saying and then this other thing is, so I'm white male with white privilege, I'm tall, people interact with me on the streets way different than they would interact with somebody else. And so my perception of, and I have the skills because I have the experience in dealing. So for me, things might be more safe than maybe for someone else. And so every person's experience is different as far as the safety. And we're all coming with our traumas, and we're all coming with our past experiences. And so it doesn't matter if it's really safe or perceived safe, it matters what's in you and how safe you feel. And so obviously it's a hard question to answer because yes, it's safe sometimes and sometimes it's not, because it's all dependent on who else is out there in that moment, and so I can't generally say, hey, streets are not safe or the streets are safe, or because it's all about, because we're all humans, we're all interacting with each other in whatever crisis or thing that we're experiencing in that moment. And so you could be out there 10 days in a row, no issues. One day you have an issue, that's going to keep you from going out again, and obviously for good reason. So it's kind of a hard question to answer, but we care deeply about safety. It's something that we talk about all the time at the Damiano. I have more staff that are around to just be not necessarily like security guards, because I'm not going to do that. If you have somebody in a security outfit, that's going to really trigger a lot of people who've had a lot of problems. But with police or something like that. But having another person there, another point of contact that says, "Hey, how you doing today?" All those things can help bring people down a little bit, like let their nerves settle a little bit. So safety is always an issue. We do have people that blow up or fight or those kind of things. I'm not. People are saying. Our outreach workers are saying it's safe. It's less safe out there than it was, before COVID. Overnight is a lot more dangerous. And so, yeah, obviously, be smart. Don't go just say I'm just gonna go out there and do whatever I want to do. It's probably not smart, but yeah, it all just depends, and where you are, what you're doing, all those kind of things. So, yeah, does that answer the question?
It sounds to me like Damiano is a really trusted, right? That's my feeling in this community. That Damiano is really trusted and people are in really high stress situations, which is why they blow up. So I don't know, and thank you for sharing all of your programs with us, because I feel like that goes like just listing all of the programs that you have goes to show how much trust there is amongst people who are in extremely high stress situations.
Yeah.
If you don't have a place to live and you have a family, what do you do?
Right. Yeah.
And it seems to me like Damiano is doing a good job.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. The Damiano is an interesting crossroads of, like you're saying, of trust, where there are a lot of people within who are housing unstable or who might be living in their apartments, but that's the other thing, is a lot of people who come to the Damiano who are living in apartments, who might even own their own home, but don't have enough money to get all the things that they need. And so we can provide some of these services to allow people to stay in their housing so that they can spend their money on their rent, and they can spend their money on their kids going to school, and they can spend their money on basic food, and so we can provide some of these other things to help people stay in their housing. But it's also a place that's trusted by the community. So that's the amazing thing to me, is so many, like the Damiano, it is amazing to me. It's run on basically $100 checks. So much of our funding comes from individuals in the community, and that's pretty unique to to this area and to nonprofits. And that's just a testament to, like you're saying, of people that trust the Damiano. It's been that way for years and years. We do get money from foundations. We get a lot of money from foundations. We get some money from grants. We get very little government funding. We get a little bit for our food program. We get money for some government funding for the hygiene unit. and we get a little bit for our kids program. But I try not to have too much government funding. One, because we have to ask way too many questions of our guests, and so then that makes it hard for the dignity and to be able to just honor the anonymity of people coming in the program. So much of our funding comes from people writing checks, and it's kind of scary because who knows what makes people write a check one day and not the next day, you know? And so then it's hard to like budget for that, but it's really beautiful too, testament to this community saying, hey, we support what you're doing. We're going to continue to give. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I have a question and then a comment. Like now, there's a woman on Kenwood Avenue who walks around with a cardboard sign saying, I'm a refugee, mother of 3 children. She's dressed in a head garment and she's Muslim. And should that person, should we give them one of your cards, or I don't feel comfortable giving her a ride to Damiano, but do you get referrals like that?
Yeah, we don't have a way to go get people or anything like that, but like the buses, you know, all go down to Damiano. Yeah, I would say just, I mean, you can always check in with people. You can tell people that between Damiano and the Union Gospel Mission, there's always a meal. Every breakfast, lunch, and dinner is covered in Duluth. And so you can say, hey, do you know the meal schedules for Damiano and the mission? You know, and you can send people that way. But yeah, you can always let people know about the services we're offering. Some of the people that you see holding signs, we see them all the time at Damiano. Other people we never see. It's a whole spectrum, and everybody has the dignity of whether they want to go to the Damiano or not. There's a bit of a stigma that walking in that door to know, hey, I mean, you take out a lot of choices from someone. Nobody gets to pick the meal that they're going to eat at the Damiano, and that's kind of a thing that we take for granted. Like when we want to eat something, you can eat something, you know, that you want to eat. And so at Damiano, you got to walk in. Oh, I guess this is what we're eating today. And so there's a lot of people that that want to have some of that choice, you know, and so they have the dignity to not come to Damiano, and that's beautiful too.
Sure. And I also want to say kudos to your people for flexibility. I was working a pancake breakfast with my husband, and they had 3 pitchers of pancake batter left over, and one of the guys says, okay, let's just dump it down the toilet. I said, wait a minute, and I called Damiano. This is Saturday afternoon at noon. One of your gals picked up the phone, and I said, I've got this pancake batter. She says, I don't have time to cook it. I said, we can cook it. You know, we want us just to bring pancakes. She said, sure. And we did it, cooked them up, brought them down, and then the next day I went and picked up our dishes. And she was super thankful, and she said, we wish we had more, you know.
That's beautiful.
But anyway, it's nice for them not to say, well, how old is it? And, you know what I mean? Have you had it refrigerated at 120 degrees?
Well,
you know?
So in that regard, we do have to, like, so we're under the same, we are held by the same standards as every restaurant in town. And so the health inspectors check out everything we do and all that kind of stuff. So we have to, like, it has to be made in the commercial kitchen to be able for us to even use it. I have to turn people away all the time. So I'm glad you had that experience, but sometimes I'm turning people away a lot if they're making it like at different places, just because we have the same, again, the human dignity.
Yes.
We got to have the same standards because our guests deserve to have the same quality of food that anybody would get when they go to a restaurant. And so we do for those reasons we have to do it. Not every place in town has to do that, but we do because we have a commercial kitchen.
Well, it was good.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That's why we took it. So thank you.
All right, so I think we have time for one more question. We'll go to the Zoom side of things here, and then Seth is generously saying that he'll be available for any other follow-up. And this is a return back to the data that you had shared about the meals. Off the top of your head, Seth, do you know about how many people you serve the meals? Is there like a most popular meal of the week, and like what are the totals for meals served a month or a week?
Yeah, so each meal is different. So our lunches are busiest, and then weekends, lunches and dinners are our busiest. breakfasts are a little bit, people don't necessarily always want to get up, but generally breakfast we're serving 50 to 80 people for breakfast, and then for dinner, for lunches, it's around 170 to 250, something like that, and then dinners could be about the same. So it fluctuates throughout the month. I think in the month of, what month are we in now? We are in September. So in the month of August, we did like 6,400 meals or something like that, I think. But sometimes we get up to 8,000.
Is there an even bigger population out there that doesn't take advantage of your service?
I don't know if I can answer that question. I don't know. If they aren't coming through, I don't know necessarily, because we're not doing outreach as much. That's more Chum and HDC and Downtown Council. They kind of have the outreach, and so I work with them all the time. But there are people that don't come in, or there's people that come in and don't eat a meal, but they'll go for clothes. There's other people that come only for the clothes but don't go for a meal. There's people that come just for the kids program but don't go to anything else. There's people that come for shower but they don't get any other services. I mean, so there's a lot of people that they don't just come in and go get everything, which I think is kind of beautiful. Like people they're only taking what they need really, and so we see the whole spectrum. Yeah.
All right, well, it is such an important conversation we've had. Thank you so much, Seth. Before anything else, just a huge round of applause for all the Damiano Center community. We're so grateful to continue to give generously as we are for the Woven Basket this month. A quick reminder that next week for our forum's topic, we are going to have the wonderful Nate Meyer with the U of M's Climate Adaptation Partnership and Climate Extension to reveal an upcoming conference that's happening at the deck. And so if you're curious about that, you can talk to Meredith during the break. Thank you all so much for being here today, and have a wonderful rest of your days, everyone.
Can I say one more thing? Just so you know, if anybody's hungry or wanting to go to Texas Roadhouse today, Texas Roadhouse all day long today, if you mention the Damiano after you serve your meal, they'll donate 10% of your meal, of the cost of your meal, to the Damiano Center. So I'm actually going there after this. I'm going to be there all day long, hanging out with people, because they have to mention the Damiano first. So you can't, they're just not getting 10% of everything.
Yeah, you're gonna help from
What? Yeah, I'll be like, I have a table there. So I'll just be hanging out at the Damiano, because I was already doing this today. I was like, hey, I can work the whole day. We'll do that.
I